this platform been?
It took us around a year, Sharifah and I, to set up Sikka. Everything from branding, legal setup, registering it, everything. And one of the main challenges that we faced is that to get locals from the region to come on board and tell their stories. It was a very challenging experience for us to find those storytellers, to tell them to come on board and share their stories, whether it's on arts, cultures, life, game changers, opinion articles, creatives. So this has been one of our most main challenges, but nevertheless very exciting as well. And then when we launched our first issue in October of 2017, and everything was just easier,
Yeah.
to take on then.
It's definitely been a whirlwind since then. So now we're almost a year and a half old, and it's been a very exciting journey. We've met a lot of incredible people from the region. We've showcased a lot of talents from the region, which is very important to us. And we've started a more global conversation between people from the region and people around the world.
So did you foresee the kind of reception that Sikka got?
No, not really. I mean, the first few months when we launched Sikka, I mean, because right now online you have this multitude of content, right? People are bombarded with the amount of content that they consume every day. So to get them hooked to your publication, to come back and read Sikka all the time, that's a huge challenge. And I think it's a challenge that a lot of online publications and even print publications face nowadays. So we can't imagine, or we couldn't foresee the amount of readership that Sikka gets, like in the thousands that we get nowadays every month. So we're very grateful for that. And we can't wait to see what the future holds for Sikka as well.
So what does the future hold for Sikka? Sharifah, I'm going to ask you, what is next for Sikka? Where is this going?
Hopefully, many more exciting things. Our constant goal has been to grow, to get more people from around the world to read about the region and to produce great content about the region, from the region, and the people itself.
Okay, so I want to just pause on that idea of reaching the maximum amount of people. So I know that with Sikka, there is the Sikka website that has all of the content, but I know that you also distribute things via WhatsApp and you post constantly on Instagram and you use Insta stories. So what has your strategy been in that respect?
Well, we strongly believe that in the digital world, you can't just focus on one way to tell a story. So we have to dissect the same story in many different ways. So we have the story shared on our website. We share it there. We have readers who want to read it through email. So email is a big component. WhatsApp is huge in the region and growing around the world. So we send our stories through WhatsApp. We dissect it into Insta stories. We have people who prefer to read the stories on Insta stories. We have people who prefer to read it on Twitter. So the same story has to be told in many different ways. And it's an exciting part because you could see how the response changes depending on the story. I mean, you could have a huge response on Instagram versus Twitter, and then you could be surprised that you'll have a huge, like hundreds of hits on Twitter, and maybe not so much on Instagram or Facebook. So it's a never-ending learning process, actually, for Sharifah and I. It's like our own psychology case study.
Your experiment.
Yes, exactly, to see how people change, what kind of content they're tuned into. We've also launched our Arabic website of Sikka this year in January. So Sikka is in both an English and an Arabic magazine, as well, to cater to both audiences.
That's amazing. I want to just talk a little bit about content. So one of the things about Sikka that I think sets it apart from other publications is that from the beginning, from day one, Sikka was pushing the boundaries of what we see in publications, in terms of topics, in terms of content, in terms of the way that the stories are written, in terms of the way that they were edited. So walk me through that. Tell me, what is your thought process for picking the topics that you've gone with on Sikka?
So basically, every year we have a big meeting right at the beginning, and that's when we decide what our issues are going to be and what our big themes are going to be. Because as you know, Sikka is a quarterly magazine,
Yep.
although we do produce content throughout the year as well, in addition to the issues. So when we sit down, Manar and I, and have this conversation about what we're going to be writing, we always try to brainstorm what people are discussing currently, what ideas or topics are of main concern to people right now, and we try to find a way to bring them in the magazine, either through opinion articles or through interviews with people or through doing features or covering stories through video. So like I said, it's very important for us that our conversations are timely, that they are relevant to our readers, and that they appeal to them. And we found that our readers prefer content that is very honest, that is very raw, and that relates to matters that are perhaps widely discussed in the region but are not documented through writing.
Okay, so Manar, let me ask you, because I know that you write, you've written for different publications as well. How do you deal with backlash and people who are maybe not so receptive to the content that's been put on Sikka? And I know that's a challenge to many writers, and the act of writing itself has its own stigma attached to it.
Thank you for this question. It's very important, and I think it's one of the main concerns that that's not encouraging a lot of writers to write in the first place, because they are afraid of the backlash that they might face. But if you want to be in this business, you have to accept this as a fact. Not everybody is going to like what you're put out there, and that's fine. It doesn't mean that you're a failure, and and you shouldn't consider that as a measure of success. For me, success is in the publishing business is that when you inspire a new way of thinking, when you let people pause for a second and think, oh wow, I never thought about it that way. For us, that is the measure of success in the publishing business. So if you are scared of what people are going to think, then I'm afraid to tell you, don't even consider going into this business, because you'll never be able to please everyone. You'll always have someone out there who wouldn't like what you're doing, who will think this is too silly, who will think, why are you even covering this? Or you should have covered that person instead of that person. And this is something that we strongly believe in at Sikka.
Definitely.
So speaking of things that Sikka believes in, one of the things that was striking to me that not a lot of publications put out sort of in the main, on their websites and in their main kind of face of things. On the Sikka website, under About Us, there is a very interesting section about knowledge being free, and that Sikka believes that knowledge is free and that it shouldn't have barriers. And I, on a personal level, think that's incredible, but I want you to talk to me about that and how that ties into Sikka's core philosophy, core being.
Sure. Yeah. So from day one, Manar and I decided that our content would be free. Because, as you said, we do strongly believe that knowledge should have no barriers. We want people to learn from what we do. We want them to learn from the content that we produce. We want it to be available to the masses everywhere around the world. So this is something that we hope that we can continue doing. It's not easy to provide all of your content for free. As you know, many magazines around the world and publications have put up paywalls in order to survive. But we hope that this is something that we can continue to do. Yeah.
So tell me about the moment where you knew that Sikka was real, when it went from being your dream and your project to actually being real. What was that like for you? What were you doing? Tell us the story of.
Well, Sharifah and I are avid readers, and we've been writing ever since we could remember. So as avid readers, we always look at content that's produced about the region. And it always frustrated us when something was wrongfully written, or it doesn't necessarily represent us or the people of the region in the best way. Like, we were so tired of the narrative that showed the region like a scene from Aladdin with the golden sand dunes and the girl with her black hair and the coal like pulled from her eyes. We were so sick of that narrative, and we just wanted something different, something real, the issues that really matter to us. And this region receives a lot of political and economic focus, not so much perhaps on the culture and the art side, as told by its people. So we wanted to create that platform. And I remember Sharifah and I were out to buy some sports gear, and we were just talking in the car about it, and I was like, you know what, Sharifah, let's start a magazine. And she was like, what? And I was like, yeah, why don't we, like, if we see something that we don't like, why don't we just go ahead and fix it? And it just went, from then on, we just decided to do it. And sometimes we even look back and we even think like how we really pulled it off, you know, like we didn't stop 2 months down the line and said, you know what, no, it's okay, we're just tired. You know, we can't believe that we actually pulled this through, and there's no turning back now. We're just gonna keep doing what we're doing.
Exactly, because as Manar said, a lot of magazines come out from the region and they're amazing and they're great and people look forward to reading them again and again, and then suddenly you find that the website's no longer operating, or their Instagram has been dead.
Yeah.
Exactly, and it really upsets us because people were doing well, the people behind these things were doing well, and it saddens us that things that come out of the region, a lot of them don't survive. So we're very grateful that we've been able to continue now for more than a year and a half, actually. And it's been very exciting for us as a journey.
I love that. I think it's important to have consistency, and I think the best opportunities always come out of the places that you didn't expect. It'll come out of a conversation in the car. It'll come out of a random painting that you see somewhere. You know, the inspiration always comes in the strangest places. So I love that. I love that story, and I love particularly about Sikka that when you tackle things, you tackle an issue from multiple angles. It's never just this is the one side of the story. Is that something you were adamant about from the beginning, or is it something you learned sort of through the process?
So when we tackle an issue, as you said, we have different themes for Sikka. So, for example, in our last theme, we talked about aib, and aib, or what it translates to shame in English, is a huge part of people growing up in the Arab Gulf states. It's a word you hear every day. Aib, don't do this. Aib, don't talk that way. Aib, you're not supposed to be doing this or that. So this small word actually has a huge impact on our lives, and we wanted to have a whole theme or an issue revolved around it, like how did it start, the psychological aspect of it. Then we have opinion articles written about it, and then creative stories that revolve around that specific word. So in Sikka, yes, we focus on everything that we explore. We make it. We focus on looking at it from different aspects. So as you said, it's not just an article that we write. So the whole thing, you'll look at one issue from so many angles. You'll hear about it from opinions or through people who are living from the region. So you're going to hear a Saudi opinion about it, an Omani opinion about it, and maybe a Kuwaiti person is going to illustrate that specific issue or something related to that theme. So our issues always come out in a 3D format. So it's very alive. It's through video, photo stories, written text, creative. That's what we aim to do in every issue.
Okay, so Sikka as a venture, as a project, I don't want to call it a project, as a publication, it's really been an entrepreneurial journey, I think, for the two of you. Has there been anything that you've taken from different areas of your life or different areas of your experience and put into Sikka? At Sikka as a venture, as a whole?
Well, out of the two of us, Manar actually has the more entrepreneurial background. I came on board Sikka after I had just recently graduated from a master's program in international politics. So definitely I was not the entrepreneur out of both of us. But Manar has had a consultancy for years, a sort of marketing consultancy, and correct me if I'm wrong. So out of the both of us, I think she'd be able to answer this well.
Definitely it did help because in terms of setting up a business, because I've been writing for over 8 years, I knew the international best standards of putting content together, so I brought that when we set up Sikka. Sharifah also has law background, so that definitely helped us when we drafted these contracts, setting up the terms and conditions for Sikha. Even when we were putting an article out there, the words that we choose, Sharifah reviews them and see if they will have any legal implications on us or not.
You're going to get sued for them.
Yeah.
Exactly. So no, definitely our backgrounds came in handy. I've worked in government for 6 years before that, directing a corporate communications department. So that helped when putting up Sikha together, the branding of Sikha, and the communication strategy that we put together, the advertisement venue, the advertisement options that we choose. That all helped us when we in our journey in Sikha. So definitely, we're very grateful for those experiences.
Okay, so Sikha has been around for almost a year and a half. Is there anything that you would say to Manar and Sharifah that were starting out Sikha that you now know?
That's such an interesting question.
That's not my surprise question, by the way.
I'll
Cancer.
probably tell Sharifah to sleep more, maybe.
Oh, yes. I would definitely tell myself to balance my work and everyday life better, because there were certain points right at the beginning where I was working for 14 hours a day, because when it's your own venture, when it's your own baby, you feel like you have to take care of it all the time. You can't leave it. You feel guilty leaving it. So I would definitely say sleep some more, have more of a life, honestly. I was antisocial for a while. I was a hermit. So I would definitely say that. And I would say that you don't have to be a perfectionist. I've spent the majority of my life being a perfectionist, and that has hindered me in so many ways, but it has helped me in so many ways. So I would say be less of a perfectionist, that if there's a single flaw, it's not the end of the world. It's going to be fine.
Are you sure?
Yes.
So, Manar, what would you say to...
I agree with Sharifah. I would tell my younger self as well to worry less. We were so worried at the beginning because we were trying to build an audience base. We were so worried that because you have some days when you have more traffic to your website and other days not so much, and that really worried us because we thought that we were failing. And this is the thing with having something online, right? Because you could see it differ from day to day. And the first year, so 2018, was a roller coaster because we worried so much. We thought, you know what, they don't like it. Maybe we're failing. What are we doing? Is this really something that we want to do? But since January 2019, alhamdulillah, things have tremendously changed for Sikha. It's like a miracle how things have changed. And I would just tell myself to worry less, that these things, because I come from an entrepreneurial background, I had to always remind myself that things take time. Nothing grows overnight. I mean, they always say if it was easy, everybody would have done it. Yeah. But it's not easy, and it's okay that things are going to take like a year and a half, sometimes 2, sometimes 3 for people to actually know what you're doing. So that's something that I would advise myself.
So what is your, this is just a side question, what is your inspiration as you're going through this journey with Sikha? What is your inspiration to keep going?
I would say it's changing the narrative about the region, getting Khaliji voices out there, because there truly is a lack of Khaliji voices around the world in international publications. Manar and I are really passionate about showcasing our region and its stories to the world in the best way possible, and changing those stereotypes that are out there. So I would say that is our constant inspiration.
So I know there's a very interesting and one of my favorite sections of Sikha, the game changers. What do you look for? What do you, when you look at someone and think that person's a game changer, this is somebody whose story I would like to take out, this is somebody we need to talk to. What is it that you look for? Do you have a set list of criteria and you think, okay, this person checks 1, 2, 3, or is it more of an organic kind of thing? Is it more of a discussion? I mean, I'm really interested to know what that process is, because it's a big part of Sikha, is highlighting those stories that don't necessarily get the recognition that they deserve.
Well, it's definitely, we sit and have a lot of brainstorming sessions. So it's not just about the person who has the highest number of followers on Instagram. That's not something we look
Gasp.
at. No. We look at people who are changing or inspiring us, our everyday lives that people perhaps not really know about. For example, we did a story on Ali al-Mazroui, and for people who don't know Ali al-Mazroui is an amazing Emirati entrepreneur, food entrepreneur. A lot of the food trucks that you see around the UAE are actually manufactured by her factory. So it's the woman behind a lot of these food trucks that you see. She actually was one of the people who pioneered the food truck craze that happened around the country. So going to her factory and seeing where those food trucks were made and how she takes those food trucks and ships them around the Gulf was really inspirational, because these are, like, you see these things every day and perhaps you don't know who actually made them, and there's an Emirati woman and a mom who's actually behind those things. So we try to look for people who are doing or inspiring real change in society. And Afra, we were so honored that you were one of those people and one of the first people that we actually featured in Sikka as a spoken poet whose poems actually cause goosebumps when somebody hears them. And I still remember when we were filming your story, and I had a lot of goosebumps hearing it and hearing how you talk about the challenges that entrepreneurs face. And it really touched our hearts because it was something that Sharifah and I faced. People, when you tell them about your idea in the beginning, people are like, I remember that people were saying, really, an online magazine? Why? There were a lot of online magazines out there. So we really related to what you were saying. And it's people like you, Afra, people like Alia, people like many of the amazing people that we featured across Sikka who are doing amazing things across the Gulf. These are the people that we want to showcase.
I mean, I was so happy to be a part of that Sikka journey and to be there in the beginning and to see where it's gone and where it's going. And I think it's an amazing platform. So I have one more question before I ask you my surprise question. And that question is, do you have a favorite article that's come out so far?
Oh, that's so tough. And I don't want anyone to get sad, you know?
Or do you have a favorite concept that came out, or a favorite moment? No, I don't want to say favorite moments, but favorite part of an article that came out.
I would definitely, I'll tell you what my favorite issue was, to be honest. And Manar's might be different.
I know it's the one with me, I know.
Of course, that has a special place in my heart because it was our first issue. So definitely that has a special place in my heart. But I would say my favorite was perhaps the Aib issue, because that's when we really gained momentum as a magazine, and we got a lot of different a lot of different writers and contributors and artists on board. So that's when, for me, it really felt like everything was coming together. The readers, the contributors, the issue itself, when it came out, it got a lot of different responses from people. So this is exactly what we wanted from day one, you know? So I think it was exemplified in the Aib issue. So that's why it's my favorite so far.
Manar, what was your favorite?
I'd have to agree with Sharifah, but also our first issue. It has such a special place in my heart because we worked on it for 4 months, and just putting it out there and seeing people's reaction, definitely it has to be one of my favorites. But then again, the Aib issue is because it also was our first issue in Arabic. And just opening the doors to the Arab readers, I mean, people who prefer to read content in Arabic, that also has a special place in my heart. And that was one of the reasons that helped Sikka grow phenomenally since we had launched it.
Okay, so I'm going to end, before we open it up to Q&A, with my surprise question that I warned you about in the green room. So my surprise question is to both of you. You wake up, you're in the middle of a deserted forest, and you meet a fairy, and she gives you something. What does she give you and why? See, surprise.
Definitely. What does she give us? I don't know. What do you think?
I'd love the gift of patience.
The gift
To be
I would love the
honest.
gift of patience.
Because as a millennial, and also it's my personality, I think we're very impatient. We want everything now and here and fast, and we can't wait for results to come out. So if I could have the gift of patience and peace of mind, I think I'd be so blessed.
That's a very good answer. I would actually ask for the gift of time, because it always seems like I'm running out of it. You know, there's not enough hours in a day for me to get through everything. And I like to respond to our contributors quickly, to our readers quickly, you know. I don't like to keep anyone waiting. So I would say definitely the gift of time.
But such a good question, Afra.
Right?
Thank you.
So before I end, for any of you that are wondering about what else these fabulous women do, Manar has a new book out. It's called The Man in the White Sandals, and I'm going to end with Manar's dedication in the book because I think it's amazing. And I think Sikha started as a dream, and you just summed this up perfectly in the book. And she says, to fellow dreamers, this book, this dream of mine, is dedicated to those who are passionate about their dreams. I owe my ability to follow my dream of becoming a writer to my parents, who taught me that dreams have no boundaries and that I could be whatever I wish to be. I dedicate this book to the countless afternoons I spent under the staircase, sketching dreams and turning them into a reality. Thank you so much for being here. I hope your Sikha dream grows and grows and grows, and I can't wait to see what the future holds for Sikha. If anybody has any questions, I'm sure they'd be happy to answer them. Otherwise, we can...
Question?
Yeah, we'll be around as well if you'd like to ask us a question after the panel.
Exactly.
Assalamu alaikum. Actually, I don't have any question. Just I want to thank you, ladies, for amazing session. We need more and more Emirati people to show their showcase their talented, their passion, their, I don't know, our identity. We want to be on the spot because we have a lot. We have a lot, really. And girls always, they have courage to show it. But we need also from the guys. And we need a lot of these kind of events. And we need more attendance. I'm one who's encouraging people to come and attend. And I'm every day here from morning till night to see these amazing things. Thank you a lot.
Thank you so much for your support.
Thank you so much for your kind words.
Thank you for choosing to be here.
Now at the moment, your magazine is in English or in Arabic or in both of them?
Sikha is available in both languages.
Both languages?
Yes, English and Arabic.
And how much is the subscription and the website address? This thing I think should be here so that everybody could know that.
It's for free. Sikha is for free. There's no you could subscribe to our email services and WhatsApp services, but we don't charge people for that. And it's SEKKA mag.com. Sikha Mag.
Thank you.
And it's the same for all our social media as well, at Sikha Mag on Instagram, Twitter.
And one thing, when you started this magazine, what was the reaction of your family? Means you have to, some resistance was there in giving you the permission, or they were with you? Means by this question, I want to know that how much you were, you fight for your magazine, for the life of your magazine. It depends the length of the life of the magazine.
Thank you so much. Well, basically, our family was perhaps more excited than we were that we were doing this. Never was a challenge to get sort of like permission to do this because our parents are our #1 fans, honestly, and anything we do in our lives, they encourage us to go through and to do 100%. So for me and Manar, that was never an issue. And our parents and our other family members have been our biggest cheerleaders since day one.
And even here, the country, with their tremendous support in terms of registering, licensing, they've been really great. Her Excellency Maryam Al-Mehri at 2454 has been one of our main supporters from day one. When we told her we're doing this magazine, she just told us point blank, what is it that you need from me? Let me know, I'll help you. So we're very thankful and grateful for the team at 2454.
That's good, very good.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you very much. I am so impressed by your hard work. But I wonder if we could push some old stories that you are covering, maybe modern stories about the UAE nationals. Because I derive my background from historical point of view. So what I could suggest that we may add some old aspects, if that's possible, to the magazine. For example, there used to be some, like pearl fishing seasons, and people were suffering and leaving their families for maybe 4 months, and that absence could, financially affect. So, like kind of this drama stories, and also I rely on British documents. So I have stories about people are getting are looking for their freedom, and I think have you seen these documents? Is it have you seen these
No,
documents?
I haven't seen them firsthand, no.
You haven't seen them.
No, no.
But I could show you that, I'm not sure if it's acceptable because some of the people, they get these people to sign their names, and they have to go to a Sharjah to, like, people who been brought from Africa or sometimes from anywhere. They were, left free. So they may be caught and sell. So is that okay, or is it bad for the content
We do
of the
actually.
magazine?
We do cover, thank you for this amazing question. We do cover historical stories at Sikka. For example, we've spoken to Dr. Aisha Belkhair. We did a story with her on the African influence on Khaliji music. So how a lot of the Khaliji music we hear every day is actually used, they use instruments that were brought from Africa, and they've been incorporated into the music that we hear every day. So definitely stories about pearl diving, our history, this is something that we focus on, and we want the world to know more about our rich culture and history.
Yeah, that is,
Sorry.
Sorry.
So we do focus both on modern issues and historical ones, and we try to marry the two together as much as possible.
I could support you with my documents if you want.
Definitely, we should have a
Definitely.
chat
Yes,
afterwards.
we'd
Thank
love
you
to
so
talk
much.
to you after.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Oh, there's one more question.
Last one.
Hi, my name is Jonathan. I keep writing for publications. I just want to ask you, like, being a not from UAE, so as you said, for the legal, the words usage and all those things. So, what do you think is the best way to navigate through those? The words usage and the topics that I shouldn't be dealing with, or what? How do you keep it clean?
So, if I understood correctly, you're asking about legal implications, possibly of
Exactly.
of articles that you may write.
Right.
Okay. Well, as Manar was saying earlier, I do have a law background, so that has helped us a lot on our journey. I have that eye for looking for things that could possibly get us into legal trouble, and I make sure that we don't get into it. So having a law background helps, but also consulting with people that you know from the legal world, any friends, acquaintances. I would encourage you not to be shy of asking them for their opinions. Maybe even consulting a firm as well. But I think that having a awareness of the society that you live in and the people is the best way that you could protect yourself or prevent yourself from falling into any issues. I don't know if you have anything to add.
Speaking from our personal journey at Sikka, we don't discuss any politics or religion topics, but we've done this on purpose because there's a lot going on already. There are a lot of people who are covering politics and religion, and we wanted to shed a light on the other aspects. But to add to what Sharifah said, we'd encourage you to consult a legal counsel on that matter and to see what you could write, or maybe also the National Media Council. They could help you in that matter. I hope it helps.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you so much, everybody, for. So we have one. Oh, we have one more question. Okay. Oh, okay.
I wasn't here for the entire session, but I just, was hearing you for the last 10 minutes. The future of digital publishing also involves personalization. So I think in due course, if you haven't thought of that already, I think it would be nice if your viewers and if your listeners, you can personalize it. For example, if somebody is a 10-year-old listening to the story, his name is inducted into the story as one of the characters, which is very, very easily doable today through digital publishing. So I just thought that just if you haven't thought of that, that's going to be the real future where you start customizing, localizing. So if somebody from, let's say, another country is, the name would change. If somebody from UAE is there, the name would change again. Somebody from India, there would be another name. And I think your stories can start having a global context to it.
True. We, in terms of customization, we do that through WhatsApp. So our WhatsApp subscribers, when they sign up for our service, we ask them what kind of stories do you want us to send through. So arts, culture, lifestyle, game changers. So they tell us, and then we send them the stories that they're interested in versus the others. So we don't bombard them with stories that might not be relevant to them to see. But definitely, this is something that we'd like to implement more and more through our website. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, everybody, for being here with us today. We've had a fantastic panel. Thank you so much, Sharifah and Manar, and we hope to see you again.
Thank you so
Afra.
much.
And Sharifah and Manar will be outside if you'd like to talk to them. And also, if you did have any queries about the National Media Council, their stand is actually just next to us. So if you wanted to go there, you can drop it in. They're extremely helpful and extremely friendly. Thank you so much to Afra. Thank you to Sharifah and Manar. And
Thank you
good
so
luck with Seeker Magazine. It's a wonderful, wonderful initiative. Thank you.
Thank you so much.